Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ann White. I am the host of The Chicken Show and the founder of the Creating Calm Network. And just as we start, I can hear my chickens doing a little chicken song, so I'm going to have an egg when the show is over. But I am here now with the founder of Cluck, Cluck, Cluck Do. And it is so exciting to be here with you, Kathie, and to share your passion for chickens. So thank you for taking time to come with us, to come into us, and let us. How did you get started in chickens? I mean, how did that happen?
Well, first of all, great. Thanks for having me. I actually started in a roundabout way. I worked for our local elementary school, and every year our teacher would hatch eggs, show the kids the life cycle of how a chicken is born, and that was always great fun. But then at the end of that, what do you do with all the chicks? So I volunteered to bring them home, and all it took was the first 6 or 7 of them, and we were hooked. Then it became, how much can I learn about it? How many different breeds are there? Let's get going. I think people have said before, once you have one, they're like potato chips. You can't stop, and that seems to be very true.
And in a way, in reading the blogs and the website for Cluck Cluck Do, it sounds like you're living your dream. Are you?
It is really. We talk about it a lot in my family. You know, there are days when it's been a rough day. Things everyday life issues get stressful, and there's nothing like sitting in your yard at the end of the day and watching the chickens range and talk to each other and come over to you. And they really do have different personalities, as I'm sure you know. Just like people, some are shy, some are funny, and it's such a relaxing thing. And I think also it really connects you back to another generation. You know, this is what our generations before would have done, our ancestors would have done. It would have been nothing for them to have a flock of chickens in the yard. And that was part of their everyday life, caring for them and having fresh eggs. And it's a nice connection from one era to another.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, you know, so many people who have chickens find them soothing and relaxing, and so your comment that maybe it takes us back to another time, that may be one of the reasons. I wonder if chickens just vibrate at a soothing energy, because it's so nice sometimes just to hug a chicken, you know, so maybe there's something with that too. But taking us back to a simpler time is kind of a neat way to do it, when you just watch them walking around, and it's so neat to have chickens. Now, do you live in the country?
I actually live in a small town in southern New Hampshire. We're very fortunate that our town doesn't have any ordinances against having chickens. We even have a couple of roosters here. Our neighbors, we were fortunate that the neighbor right next to us got involved with chickens at the same time we did, which is always helpful if you can manage that, especially if one of you has a rooster. Sharing information, they're going to not mind the sound a little bit. But the whole neighborhood, you know, everybody loves the chickens. They love the fresh eggs. That's another good way, if you're introducing chickens into your neighborhood, is to offer your neighbors some fresh eggs. That tends to help.
That's right. My chickens, it turned out, are right on my neighbor's property line, because I have so I'm always handing over my eggs as like bounty or something, bribery.
Yeah, we've talked to our neighbors here and there and said, you know, does it bother you at all? And they say, we love the sound of them. Yeah. We love the sound. You know, it's very relaxing. We feel like we're much more out in the country than we are. So it's a small town. It's nice. It's somewhat rural areas. We have a little more than an acre where we are, but it's enough space, really enough space for the chickens, and we have 5 ducks. So it's enough room for them.
Right, and that's really for everybody who hasn't turned into Cluck Cluck Do yet. Well, you suggest that you do that. What kind of a I was going to use the word menagerie, but how about flock do you have? Because I saw a parakeet, I saw some dogs. I'm a dog lover, so mine are currently behaving. So tell us about your experience with all of your critters. Who do you have?
Well, it's funny. As I'm talking to you, Sugar Plum, our cat, is staring at me from the other side of the computer.
Are you talking?
Unnerving. We have 26 chickens. 24 of them are hens, 2 roosters. We have 2 cats, 2 beagle dogs, Willow and Sadie, 5 ducks. Actually, they're all boys, so 5 drakes. And we have 2 parakeets and a parrot. I think that's everybody.
What's a parrot?
A parrot is the smallest version of a parrot you can have. So they're about the size of a parakeet, but in other ways, very much similar to a parrot. They're very sweet.
And with your ducks, do you have a pond for them? Because ducks need water, or do you go out with bathtubs, or how do you keep your ducks happy?
Well, we just got them last year. What happens with us is we have a local SPCA farm not far from us, and it's very difficult to go there and not come home with somebody. So we weren't planning to have ducks in the beginning, and then we did. So we don't have a pond yet, but that's something we'd like to add to the property, a project to work on this year. So right now what we're doing is switching out the pools, the plastic kiddie pools, and we have different sizes. We kept one small one out to use during the winter. Anytime there was a thaw, we would get that right out, and and they'd be out in it. As long as they have water to drink during the winter and they can have access to that, they don't need to necessarily swim every day. But anytime there was a break in the weather, we tried to get it out, and so the last few weeks they've been out pretty much every day in it.
That's neat. Yeah, I keep thinking ducks because chicken math, it's addictive. Once you get it there, pretty soon there'll be a goat. Who knows? But, and tell us the kind of chickens you have. What breeds do you have?
Oh, sure. Well, we started out with Orpingtons, which are wonderful. I mean, they call them the golden retriever of chickens, and that's true. They're very kind, very loving. They're very dependable. They're great layers. So we have buff Orpingtons, and ours now probably are about, I want to say probably 5 years old, and they're still laying. Not every day, not as consistently as the others, but they're the grand ladies of our flock. Then we have 2 blue Orpingtons, which were new a couple of years ago. They're beautiful. I don't know if you've seen those before, the lavender Orpingtons, the blue Orpingtons. They're very, very pretty. And we have 2 Wyandottes. Happy, who we talk about, is a blue splash Morans, and we have a Wheaton Morans, a Rhode Island Red. So we really have a gamut. And we have a few that were a mixture of some of ours with our rooster Bo, who was a buff Orpington. So and then we have our Silkies that we got last year, which we're absolutely loving. Silkies are wonderful. And we have 2 white-crested black Polish. So we have pretty much spattering across the.
And that's why there's nice that there are, like your Facebook group, Cluck Cluck Do, and there's so many chicken Facebook groups, because I am relatively new to chickens, and I live in the city of Sheboygan, although it's a small city, and I'll say to my friend, well, I'm getting some buff Orpingtons, and they look at me like,
yeah, right.
Nobody cares. But
right.
Chicken people, she's got the lavender one, and you're so
exactly.
So we get all excited.
Yeah, you almost don't want to talk about it too much with other people. It's like, crazy chicken lady.
Oh, exactly.
But you know one of your own, you're right, that it's very exciting.
Exactly. And I have 10 buff Orpingtons in my basement, but they're little babies. They're now 6 weeks old. So I've been moving them around the house, trying to find the perfect spot until they can go outside, because it snowed here today. It's still winter.
Oh, yeah, here too. Well, we named our buff Orpington rooster Bo. Actually, our friend named him because when the hatching eggs came, and this was one we did in our kindergarten class, we wrote B.O. on it, so we would know it was the buff Orpington egg.
Oh.
So, Bo, there you go.
That's his name.
Now I got his name.
Is he a pretty nice guy?
He is. He does his job very, very well. Very well. Yeah.
Well, besides everything you do, you're an author. And you've got 2 books, and we did the promo with my hen Glozell about your quickie guide. Was it the quickie book of chicken names? And she didn't. I bet Glozell was
Chicken book of chicken names.
Hold it up, please. Hold it up.
Okay.
Book of chicken names, and that's so much fun. You must have had a fun time putting together.
Well, it was. You know what? This was just a fun project. This was for those of us who decide they want chickens, and you go out, you buy all the supplies. And then this is meant to be something nearby all the supplies where you pick up, and because part of the fun of having them is naming them also. Yeah. And you normally end up with not one like you would a dog or a cat, but you end up with 8 or 10 or 20 of them. And how do you come up with the names? When every once in a while we'll hear something and we'll say, that's a great name, write it down, and you'd have pieces of paper with them. So we thought, what if we just put a book together, just a fun little book, it's a very inexpensive little book that is alphabetical, and it goes the hen names and the rooster names and fun things like Gregory Peck for a rooster, or Anita Dustbath for a hen, or Johnny Four Toes if you want to do a wise guy name, So it's.
I had a fun time putting that together.
Yeah, yes, it was very fun. Yes, and during it, I asked a lot of our followers on the Facebook page, you know, what are your favorite names, any suggestions? So it was a nice compilation. Everybody had a little bit of input to it, which was great.
When I first got my chickens, I asked my brother, he saw a movie called Chicken Run. It was an animated cartoon.
Yes, Chicken Run, right.
I said, okay, you saw the movie. Give me a name.
I don't want to be pie.
And, right. And he said, Edwina. So I named my chicken Edwina. I sit back to watch the movie looking for the heroine. Edwina's dead before the credits. Yeah. I'm thinking, you gave me a dead chicken name. I wanted a live chicken name. So he got out of the naming chickens thing.
Yeah. Well, he's copying the book. There you go. Oh, that's funny. But there are so many. You know, some people go the old names, the Prudence and, you know, Harriet and those types of things. And then there are the play on names like Gwyneth Paltrow. You know, you can play on them. Or you can just have some more modern names or names that have to do with their looks. And, you know, it's just a nice, fun thing to flip through when you're out over with dinner with somebody and anticipating your flock arriving. So.
And it's fun to say quickie book of chicken names.
Isn't it? And it is a quickie book. You know, there are about 2,000 names in it, but it's just, you know, it's just a reference. It's just alphabetical, quick to look through. So.
Well, it's a lot of fun, too.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. Yeah, a lot of fun.
And you have another book, and you were just telling me you're going to be doing the second in a series about
yes.
Your journal.
Happy's Journal.
Yeah, so tell us about Happy, your blue, what's it called, Blue Splash
Marines, yes. Happy, you know, it all started when we were sitting out in the yard and we would watch the chickens, and I would just add conversations. I would almost translate their conversations into people's voices, what they were thinking, what they were doing. And then I thought, wouldn't it be funny if Happy got involved in this, or wouldn't it be funny if they took off and they had an adventure here? So I started writing her daily journal of what it was like to be a chicken out in the chicken yard. And it has grown from just, oh, somebody had a piece of pine shaving stuck to their bottom, to now they're off on adventures. And just recently Happy ran for a spot for a library trustee in our local town.
She's an amazing girl.
Oh, she does all kinds of things. They travel. They get into all kinds of capers. They help people out at the local farm. They run their own brewery, the Happy Chicken Brewing Company. They don't partake, but they do. They are brewers, so they make their deliveries. So it's a lot of fun. They've gotten into quite a few capers, and the nice part about that is our followers on Facebook will give me little things from time to time, saying, what if Happy did this, or I think she should drive this for a car, or, you know, or I'll ask them a question, what do you think? So when we had the election, which was just last month, or earlier this month actually, for library trustee, they weren't sure if she was going to win or not, but she went and had a debate, and her arch nemesis is a woman called Eunice, who's a former librarian, who's human, and has a hard time dealing with chickens, thinks they're dirty, disgusting things. So that's her life every day. But it's fun.
You know, and the thing I can sense it from your blog more so in looking at it, but you're just having a good time.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. It's nice because it's a book that you know, adults read it, but it's nothing in there that's bad. The kids couldn't read either who like chickens, who can relate to that. And it's just fun. There's nothing dirty in it. There's nothing, you know, it's just a fun caper that your chicken is off having, you know. So it's been a great fun, and I'm very fortunate that it has been published and it's out there, and we're selling copies, and we have another one on the way coming out. So it's great.
Do you have a release date yet for the second one, or is it still?
We're looking at the end of May. It should be out by the end of May.
Really coming out soon. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we'll make sure. I'm sure I'll see it on Facebook too, and give you some shout outs.
Oh, great! I appreciate that. Thank you.
So what's a day in the life like for you, Kathie?
Well, I just started back. I had taken a little bit of time off from our local elementary school, and I just started back this week. Yeah. So this week has been a little hectic, but I love working with the kids, so that's what I do during the day. And then I'm home, and before we leave, it's getting everybody out in the morning, letting all the chickens out, checking their food, checking their water. The one nice thing about chickens, as you know, is they take very little effort. Make sure they have a clean house, and make sure they have clean water and their food, and they pretty much take care of everything else. So it doesn't take too much time, but it's a couple of minutes every day, just making sure that they have their fresh water and their food is up to date. And then again, we check them when I get home, and put them in for the night, and that's usually it. We go out and spend some time with them, let the ducks out, have them have a swim. So it's great. I talk to them a lot.
Yeah.
The other day I was out trying to film something, and I haven't put it up yet for the Facebook page. One of our blue Orpingtons was starting to lay an egg, and I thought, oh, I think I can catch this on film. I don't know if anybody wants to see it or not, but I thought maybe. So I stood in the back of the coop by the window, and I had my camera through. And this one particular one, most of ours will go in and just get in the nest and lay there until it happens. This one is very agitated. She goes in, she goes back. She goes in, she goes back. So she was doing that, and I had little visitors coming in, her flock mates walking by the camera, and then looking at me, what are you doing? And back and forth and back and forth. And it happened to be such a cold and windy day. It was this past Sunday. It had to be in the teens. And I was out there for 20, 30 minutes waiting for this egg to happen. Finally, she turns her back to the wall, drops it so you can't even see it, and you see it roll out from under her. So she had it, and so that was good. I was happy about that. But
it's probably a fun video. Just watching her just makes such a big deal about everything.
Yeah, so those are some of the times I have when I have extra time. I'm out there filming things, but yeah, that was fun.
And how does your blog fit into your life? Because it sounds like it's a major part of it in a sense. Or even when you're a Happy's Journal, you're sitting out there making up, what's in Happy's mind today. So
well, it's funny. The Happy's Journal really comes to me. That's nothing I really usually have to think too much about. It's the oddest thing. It's almost as if she's telling me. So I'll start writing, and it just starts flowing. And here it is. Here's what's happening. The blog, we've had a little bit of time where it's slowed down a little bit as things in regular life get busy, and then jump back to it. So we're trying to do some revamping on that. I'd like to have some younger bloggers help join us to have a kids corner of that. So we have some other things. Wouldn't it? Yeah, so we have some other things we're trying to think of to add to that. The Facebook page is something that we do every day. I'm on there. I check when I get home from work, before work. So it's busy. And I'm always thinking, as I'm driving in the car, a thought comes, or I'll hear something on the radio, or I'll think, oh my goodness, that sounds like a happy story, and just write myself a note. And come. In fact, I have to do a posting tonight on it, and it's already starting in my head as far as what goes on.
Can you give us a little preview?
Oh, well, right now they're in the middle of a caper because her arch nemesis is upset about losing the election to Happy. So she came looking for her. Her flock tried to hide her out of the way, but instead, Happy comes back when she finds out that her flock kind of got in the mix of it with Eunice. So now Happy is knowing that she's going to go and solve this thing once and for all. So
maybe it should be a movie like Chicken Run or something.
Well, wouldn't that be? Yeah, but nobody dies and nobody's pie.
That's even a better movie.
That's right.
With the death.
Yeah, nobody wants to be pie.
I like that. I like your story better. Does Terry work with you? You say, does she write part of the blog too? So she's an active.
She'll come on and she'll do. She usually does on the blog. We do recycling and reusing, repurposing things, and she'll do a lot of the breed write-ups for us. So that's great. And then I usually do the Happy piece, and I do most of the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that you have that shared love of,
oh yes,
or else it wouldn't be such a wonderful place to be. But it's
yes, exactly.
You enjoy all of the creatures that you're tending to.
Yeah, well, it's nice. Like I had mentioned before, going to the SPCA, we'll go there, and you're standing there and you see them, and you're not expecting to take home anyone, and then they say, "And this poor little one," and then you look at the corner of the eye at each other and go, "All right."
Words don't even need to get spoken, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like your followers on Facebook really get to interact with you too. So anybody watching this who hasn't been to Cluck Cluck Do on Facebook, get yourself right over there, and it's a good time, a lot of fun, but also good information that comes out too.
Yeah, they're the greatest. They really are. A lot of them have been with me right from the get-go. They're very, very supportive. They share a lot. They're very supportive of each other. And if somebody hears new information about something, we just had some information on about the avian flu, different breed things that might be coming up, different shows. If somebody has a question, if somebody's new starting out, has anybody ever had this happen, or what should we do in this case? And they jump in to help out. They're the greatest group of people. They really are. And they're from all over the world. A lot of people from the United States, Canada, Australia, but just really every corner of the world. And it's nice. You know, people can say so many things of what's going on, and life is tough overall in the world. There are a lot of struggles. But if you can find one thing that everybody can share and have in common, you know, it builds bridges. Who knew the chickens would build bridges, but they do.
Oh, they do,
You
yeah.
know?
Like I say, I am so amazed with having a chicken because I've learned so much, and the people who have chickens, I think it's been transformational for so many people in their lives.
Well, one of the things I find fascinating about chickens is the way they communicate with each other. There are so many vocalizations that I don't think people ever stop to think about. And when I was listening to them yesterday, Sunday rather, when it was actually Dolly Parton, that's what it was laying her egg. I'm trying to think which one was it, Dolly, was laying her egg. And there was just like a low chortling that was going on inside the hen house between 3 or 4 of the hens as they were going through that process. It was like they were checking in with each other, and they were just, you know, getting ready to lay their eggs, and this was the sound they made. Much different than when they're saying, hey, you're in my way, or something's overhead, everybody take cover, or here comes mom with the mealworms. There are different sounds for everything. And if I think if you slow down and you take the time and you listen, you can learn so much. You know, not everybody uses words, but everybody's able to communicate.
And it is fun. You know, some people have those cameras out in their coop.
Yes, yeah.
It's nice to do, because I can see my coop from my kitchen window at night. Their lights are still on sometimes. Yeah. And I watch them, and Glozell, the one who does the promos for me, she's a little barred rock. She's just out there talking up a storm about something before they all go to sleep. And I would love to have like a mic or something to just see. It's like a hen party out there.
A hen party, exactly. Yeah, we call them hoot nannies.
Yeah. This is Riley, and the chicken friend is Riley. And he's the same color as my chickens, except Glozell. And they chase them all around and poke them. And
yep.
How do your dogs get along with your chickens?
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, we just lost our 14-year-old Basset Hound, Chowder. He was a great boy. Yeah. And he was our ambassador. He would walk out there and check on them all, and they would come to the fence of their run and talk to him, and he'd wag his tail and just checking in. It's amazing how well they got along. And the girls, our beagles, get along with everybody too. They're a little bit more high energy compared to what he was like. But they all seem to get along pretty well, and they get along well with the ducks. So the girls sometimes will get up into the kitchen and look out the window and watch them, because they too can see the hen house from the back window. It's funny when you're looking out the kitchen window at them at night. I don't know if this has happened to you, and you're watching them, and then all of a sudden they catch you watching them, and they watch you back, and they're tilting their head.
They must have a sixth sense, because I don't think
Isn't that funny?
You hear me, but sometimes I watch them do their dust bath in the yard, and all of a sudden they're looking up. I think, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they must have a sixth sense or something.
Yeah, or you open up the nest box to take one of the eggs out, and somebody's still in there, and they spin around and look at you like, occupado. It's like, okay, sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey, but I love the work that you're doing on sharing the joy of having chickens, as well as the knowledge that you need to raise a happy chicken or healthy chicken.
I would say if anybody is able to or interested in doing it, that they should go ahead and do it. Even if you're living in a city, there are a lot of cities now that are allowing you to have a couple of hens in the backyard. Besides the fresh eggs, it's such a joyful, and that's what we call it, our joyful adventure into chicken keeping. It is such a joyful adventure. It's just as good as meditation to us, You like to meditate? Well, the chickens are a form of that, I think. They're funny. The whole day can wash away when you're talking to them or you're holding them, and they put such trust back into us as far as taking care of them, and they're very easy to take care of. They really don't need a lot, and they give a lot back in return. So it's been a wonderful adventure for us. I'm really glad that I took that first batch from our kindergarten class, because I can't imagine ever being without them now.
And do you ever take your chickens to school to show? What grade are you with now when you're back in school?
Right now I'm working with first and second grade. For years it was kindergarten. And yes, I have taken them. I have taken them to school. One year was pretty funny. I brought them into our preschool class, and they all thought my chicken was trained, but it was just because I had mealworms in my hand. Hid them, and they didn't know. I can make her jump. I can make her do this. I can make her that. It's like, oh, there's a trick. Just have a mealworm and you're good.
I know. I love to pretend that Glozell loves me because she comes
Yeah,
running when she sees me, but then I have mealworms in my pocket, and I
absolutely.
she likes mealworms. I'm just the one who hands them. So, but I
That's
pretend.
right.
I pretend.
That's right. And well, that's the other point too, is how good they are for your garden. Now, besides the eggs and that's made me think of it when you said the mealworms, is the compost is so good for gardens. So any gardeners out there, if you're thinking about it, just getting a couple of hens, the compost is incredible. They call it black gold. You know, it
I give
makes
my
such a difference.
because I live in such a small footprint that
Mhm.
Friends Have Gardens, I'll bring over a present. People bring a bottle of wine to their house. I bring over a bag of manure, you know.
Yeah.
But it's gold. It's wonderful. So hopefully
Yes.
it's all been received well.
Yeah.
Here
Yep.
comes Ann with her chicken poop.
Yeah.
What do you do with your garden? Do you have it blocked off from your flock so they don't go in and help you eat it before their time?
Well, it's really funny. I haven't had any problem with them. We have a big side yard that's all grassy, so they spend a lot of time with that, and we get a lot of bugs and slugs over by our shed area. We have a very wooded lot, so they're able to go. We have groves of trees that they go through in a little wooded area, so they tend to leave the garden alone. I have it use fieldstone to border it off, and I have some raised beds in there, and they haven't so far really touch it. Now, chipmunks are another question. Keep the chipmunks away is something different, but the chickens have been pretty good.
And do you have any predator control, or do your roosters pretty much take care of keeping the girls safe?
We have a huge hawk population where we live. We also have black bear and fox and fisher cats. Fisher cats are huge. So we really have to be very careful with ours. So we only let them out to range when we're out there. So in the summer, if we're out working in the yard, we have them out. And if not, we have built big pens for them that are covered.
Yeah,
So
that's the
they have
common
wire
question
covers.
I think people have, or how do you keep
Yeah.
them safe from predators? Because predators are pretty smart.
Well, it's amazing. We came around the back of the house one day and there was a hawk on the ground sitting right next to the coop, watching them underneath, and they were fenced off. We couldn't get at them. But he was just sitting there watching them. The girls were going crazy. And I was looking around and I heard them trying to find out what it was, and it was just a hawk sitting on the ground. And I thought, holy smoke. And we've had owls that just sit in the trees and watch them. So it's really important for us to have the wiring and to have the hard cloth wire, not the regular chicken wire, because we also have raccoons, and it's very easy for somebody to be able to get in through that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we always have chipmunks around, and they get along fine with the chickens. They don't seem to bother them at all. I know some people, depending on where you are, would have other rodent problems. We don't really have that. We haven't had any snake problems, but hawks for us has been huge. Hawks, fisher cats, foxes. So we have to be very careful of that.
So I think that's probably a common question. Another
Yeah.
question that I see coming up a lot and wonder what you do with this is the litter on your coop. Do you do the deep litter method, or do you do hay or straw, or how do you keep
Well, I'll
the
tell you, this winter was the first deep litter winter we've had.
yeah.
I like to keep it really clean. I know the deep litter method works well,
Mm-hmm.
but I really like it smelling as nice as it can, as nice as it can, and keeping the dust down. So I try to clean it every week, every other week at the most. But this winter was so tough for us. It was really difficult getting out to the coops. I mean, we could get out to check on them, but it was very difficult to get the bucket over there and to get it cleaned out and then to make a path into the woods to be able to dump everything. So we had a huge cleaning on last Sunday, cleaned everything out, and we'll probably clean them again this week. But we can use pine shavings in the coops themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Last fall, I put down quite a thick bed of sand in the runs, and that has made a big difference. So I'll be re-raking those. Construction sand, right. So I'll be cleaning those out again fairly soon as everything melts out of the way, and bringing in some more sand and doing that again. I'd like to try the sand in the coops. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I'm thinking about doing that as well. But I like the pine shavings. They're absorbent enough. They also add, this extra layer of insulation for warmth for them. So that's worked out very well.
Did you heat your coop at all, or is it insulated enough that you didn't?
Well, I'll tell you, when I first,
of a winter, I think, right?
it was, when I first started out keeping chickens, I was so worried that they were going to freeze, and everybody kept telling me they don't need heat. And I would look out there in my warm house and knew how cold it was, and I felt horrible. And so we put heaters in the coops. And then on our smaller coops, we started having condensation, which is the worst thing you can have because their manure heats up and their body heat they give off heats up. And then if it gets too much condensation in there and it gets too cold, you have ice. And then that could be respiratory diseases. So you have to be very careful with that. And they weren't getting enough ventilation, so we turned the heat off. This is the first year we haven't used heat, as cold as this winter was, and they did great. They did great. What we did use, though, is for our heaters, and which was I would recommend it to anybody who's in a cold weather climate. We made the heaters for the waterers, plastic waterers, out of the cookie tins.
You used the cookie?
See those? The cookie tins with a light bulb inside. So we made those for each of the coops. You can put the water right on top of that. It's like 40-watt bulbs.
Those bricks that have the hole in it?
Yes, yeah.
I put a light bulb up through the hole, but I think the pins look nice too.
Yeah, it works great. It works great. In past winters, we used to have to switch the water out every couple of hours. It would freeze so fast. We didn't have to deal with that at all. Just check to make sure the light bulb was still on, and wow, we didn't have a problem. And I think that was just enough heat in there as well, and they did great. They did great. I was very proud of them. I was nervous, but they did great.
As a new chicken keeper, when it got very cold here, I brought all mine in the house. I will never do that again. That was a mistake, big mistake. So now.
But you worry. It's understandable. I went through that. I understand.
So we marched them all in, and I marched them all back out as soon as I could. But
well, in some respects, you think they seem so frail. How could they possibly manage out there when it's 20 degrees out or 10 degrees out or below zero? But then you think how long they've been around. Did they go back to prehistoric times? They're direct line from a dinosaur. So you think, okay, something has had to make it that they've been able to adapt and deal, and they do.
I kept saying to myself, there were chickens before there were heaters. There were chickens.
That's right.
Before heaters. So
that's right.
We learn as we go.
That's right.
Kathie, you've been absolutely delightful. I'm so glad I had a chance to talk with you and on the chicken show, letting everybody know about Cluck, Cluck, Do. And I had to ask because in my house it's Cluck, Cluck, Poo. But Kathie tells me the Cluck, Cluck, Do is in honor of the rooster part as well. The cock.
That's right.
But not having a rooster, I just have a lot of poo and no do.
Well, I appreciate it, Ann. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
It's a real pleasure, too. Thank you, and have a clucking good rest of your day.
You as well.